You need a doctor?
I am a doctor.
I should have died years ago.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
In today's podcast, we're covering something that we never thought we'd cover, the Morbius movie.
Can you believe it? This film was practically left out of theaters when it first came out and became a meme on the internet. And apparently, the studio thought that was a good thing and re-released the film to gain more viewers. That didn't work, but does the movie truly deserve the hate? It's Morbin time!
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click notifications with some future podcasts and World of Pause videos.
Thank you so much for subscribing and joining us for each podcast. We appreciate you very much.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to say that when we watched this movie the first time, it was on Netflix, and we turned it off after, I think, 10 minutes. And we thought about it that we didn't really give it a fair chance. We like to do so unless there's something just vulgar or offensive. And 10 minutes in, it wasn't.
Right.
So we decided to go back recently and watch Morbius again. This time, give it longer and a fair chance. We were surprised that it was actually an interesting movie. So before we get into what we think, we just want to let you know that it's 104 minutes, distributed by Sony Pictures, and this movie was not a box office failure. The budget was between 75 and 83 million. It grossed over 167 million at the box office. So, theatrically, it was not a failure. It was a failure with critics like Rotten Tomatoes, who we don't listen to anymore, gave it a 15% rating. Did it deserve that rating? In our opinions, no.
Right. And we hesitated to watch this movie for a while, and when we finally did, and actually got past the first 10 minutes, it was actually something interesting in the beginning. And we've never read the Morbius comics. We just know that he is a character from the Spider-Man villains lineup, but now once again repurposed into anti-hero. This is part of Sony's new thing of turning all Spider-Man's villains they haven't used in the MCU movies into anti-hero spin-off films. It says Venom did so well, they tried again with Morbius, they're trying again with Madam Web, now they're trying again with Kraven the Hunter, so they're trying to see how many anti-heroes they can really come up with for this franchise.
And from what we understand, there have been two previous times they attempted to make this character into a movie since 1998, and it was actually, I guess the first appearance was a role in the Blade franchise as an antagonist. And then as a solo film by Artists and Entertainment, neither came to fruition. So this was the time that actually came through. Now here's the thing. The movie wasn't bad until the end of the movie. It actually had an interesting plot and idea, and the acting was great. Jared Leto was really good. So was Matt Smith until the end of the movie. But the acting wasn't bad. The concept was interesting. The idea, I would say is very similar to Blade.
Yeah.
And that definitely is, I think, where it should have been a crossover with. But they did it this way.
Right.
And it was really interesting and captivating until the brother, Milo Morbius, turned on Michael, tried to kill him and everyone, and then the movie went to crap, and we didn't understand why.
Like halfway through.
They brought that, it was about 2/3. Why they brought that trope into this movie. It would have been perfectly fine without it. And I'm going to guess that the theaters, if people sat through it that long, that's probably what turned them off and made them want to get up and walk out, because it made us want to turn it off as well.
Yeah, and they probably felt like they got tricked to see him start off with a good movie and then it turned badly. And as you said, by that point, the problem was that it just kind of came out of nowhere. It felt like they really didn't set up an antagonist for Morbius. Since he's the anti-hero, not a villain, they had to come up with someone else. And apparently script got reworked a few times, and especially now there's not going to be a sequel, the cliffhanger now means nothing. And reason why this feels so wrong is that when you watch the beginning of the movie, see how these two grew up. Yes, they were bullied. Mostly the brother was bullied, and you could understand him being a little bit antagonistic, just a little bit. But the problem is that after they have the cure, and they're both cured in a way, Morbius is no longer ill, and Milo can now walk fully without an aid of a cane or anything. And instead of being like, happy and thrilled, like he starts off happy and thrilled, and he's dancing, he's all that, and then he starts taking out people. Then he starts having anger issues, and it seemed like he has such a problem, or so was bullied so much, he started hating people that could walk altogether. And instead of being happy that he could walk, he started just taking out people left and right that he had grudges with, that he couldn't take out and take vengeance on when he was ill. So it sounded like he had a problem with the whole world. Then he turned to the Joker, and then all the writing started feeling like they were dumbing it down.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the characters and the cast. And I have a little information that may explain why this went to crap. Jared Leto's starring role is Michael Morbius, scientist suffering from a rare blood disease who attempts to cure himself, affected with a form of
You need a doctor?
transgenic vampirism. And the
I am
first
a
thing I
doctor.
thought when we were watching this was Muzan and Demon Slayer.
Yep.
And since this character came out, if we're not mistaken, in the 70s, originally, that means that she was inspired by this character.
Yeah.
And Muzan's definitely Morbius.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
for sure.
without a doubt. Except for much worse, because at least Morbius doesn't want to kill people. Wants to do something with his powers that will help, and wants to not have the abilities. He just wants the sickness cured.
Right.
Muzan was a pure villain who wanted all the others dead he created, and then wanted to be able to stay in the sun so he could be the strongest, not Gojo.
Right.
So this pretty much stuck to versions that were in the comics. Then we get to Milo Morbius, or Lucian. So Lucian was his original name. We know it's his surrogate brother, and he's supposed to be a wealthy man, nicknamed by Milo.
Yeah.
They have the same disease. And then when he gives himself a cure, and Michael didn't give it to him, as you say, he turns into a villain. Here's something interesting for you. Matt Smith is the actor who played Milo. He was originally announced to play comic book character, Lucius Crown, or Hunger. But this was later changed to a significantly different character based on Michael himself.
Oh, so he decided to change it.
They changed it entirely.
Oh,
This
so
doesn't
this is a
seem-
character that doesn't belong in the movie.
That is correct. So that's why it turned to crap later. Maybe it would have been more interesting if they had done it from the original comic book character, Crown or Hunger, as the name was. We have Adria Arjona is Dr. Martine Bancroft, and she's a scientist and his colleague, and she tried to help him. We had Tyrese Gibson as Simon Stroud, who's an FBI agent. Hunting Michael, because you always got to have that.
Yeah.
And you have a few of the characters you're really not familiar with. And the cameo appearance in the end credits was Michael Keaton as Vulture.
Yes.
And that looks like it was going to be interesting.
Yes, they were supposed to be leading up into this Sinister Six movie, which we're not even sure if it's going to happen anymore, because these movies keep leading either to nowhere or they change the storyline by the time they get to working on the next film. And with the stuff going on with Marvel and Disney, we're not sure anymore. All we know is that now Vulture will not be appearing in another movie. They're supposed to do a Sinister Six movies and leading up into them fighting Spider-Man in the MCU like they did with No Way Home, just with all Sonyverse villains. But now with this change, I think they said they changed their minds on having Vulture and Morbius team up. That was actually supposed to be a big part of the movie, as the first trailer indicated, where he was pretending to be a citizen there in that world. So now, unfortunately, when they changed that and lowered it to just a post-credit scene, now, unfortunately, his role is no longer going to be used in Morbius or these other movies.
So what do we think? If you can see this movie for free, definitely watch it. Don't buy it. Don't pay to rent it, but if you can see it for free on a streaming platform or on demand, absolutely watch it. 2/3 of the movie is good. The last third is crap. So enjoy it for what it is. Watch it for free. Come back and let us know what you think. If you've already seen it, let us know if you agree with Rotten Tomatoes with the 15%, or like us, where we think 2/3 were good, 2/3 of the movie was good, and 1/3 was garbage. Let us know in the comments.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and movie reviews for anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. And very quickly, cinematography was good, special effects was good, the acting was good, the storyline 2/3 through was fine, not knowing that the character was made up for the brother. So definitely wanted to say that. And thank you so much for watching this and subscribing. Feel free to share this podcast. It helps out our channel a lot. And we appreciate all that you do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toon-tastic day.
Peace.